is brought to you by SMART, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
And welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Such a morning, right?
I'm April Martinez.
And I'm Paul Lopez.
Good morning, Belize. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely, little wet Monday this morning. But nevertheless, wherever you are, thank you so much for tuning in to Open Your Eyes.
You're right,
Paul.
You're right, April. It's Monday. It's the start to a new, fresh week. And I know that our viewers out there, they probably had a great time celebrating this weekend, Independence Day, and perhaps got some rest as well. And I know that our viewers are anticipating the start of the day as well as the start of the week. It was raining this morning, so it may have been hard for some to get out of bed, roll out of bed, and get the morning started. But I know that come hell or high water, you have some people out there that have already gotten their exercise in, and it's actually energized to start the morning.
I was leaving Belmopan like at 4:45, and people in Belmopan were already jogging and running or finishing their jog and heading back
Exactly.
home.
So I just wanted to say that wherever you are, thank you for making this morning show your morning show of choice. Of course, every morning we come with the exciting conversations. We come with information as well, and just to keep you on your feet, keep you informed so that you know what's happening in and across the nation, your district, your league village, your league group, your chat group, wherever we try to bring the information. So thank you for joining us this morning.
And as speaking of information and speaking of, I guess, the post of September celebrations, let's get into our What's Buzzing conversations for this morning. All right, Paul, as we mentioned before this morning, that it is September 23rd.
Oh, yeah.
That means that we have surpassed our September celebrations. Well, our Independence Day celebrations was this Saturday, this weekend. Between Friday and Saturday, there were so many events across the country. If you tuned into the National Celebrations Commission Facebook page and you saw their calendar of events, it was stellar, not just in Belize City, but across the entire country. There were so many different events taking place from Friday leading up into the Saturday.
I see you were there on Friday night at an
Yes,
event.
I am at my regular post. I don't rest as everybody else does for the holidays. But it was nice to analyze coming from the Belize City angle, because as my colleagues and I were discussing, that it was a small turnout audience, in particular for like the flag raising ceremony and the fireworks. You know, granted there was a concert taking place, of course, the Soca Fest was happening in Belize City, but it was also noted that there were celebrations taking place in Belmopan. There were celebrations taking place in Cayo, Orange Walk, all over the country. And so it seems that out-district people, quote unquote, stayed within their municipalities and brought in the the Independence Day celebrations at home. And that's just my brief analysis of
Who bring
that.
it at home?
The out-district people, they stay home this year.
So wait,
you're
the out-district.
I am out-district.
Once you're outside of Belize City.
Didn't you know that that's where it came from? The whole term and concept of out district, meaning that you're not from Belize City.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that is a term that was used only by Belize City residents for a very long time.
So I didn't necessarily get to watch any of the fireworks.
Oh, you asked me?
If only we had some shots though, because I saw just the following day some beautiful fireworks display, not only in Belize City.
Across
I saw
the
in
country.
Orange Walk as well. Belmopan.
Yes.
I only heard good things about fireworks in Belmopan. Corozal, I know San Pedro did their thing as well. And so across the nation, Belizeans and those alike got to enjoy the fireworks display, and I love that.
In Belize City, well, and as you rightfully mentioned, I was here in Belize City at the flag raising ceremony, and it's a tradition. You know, the first flag raising ceremony in 1981 was held here in Belize City, and so that has been a long-standing tradition here in Belize City to have that ceremony half an hour before midnight. Okay. So there is this, of course, delegation with the diplomatic corps, with our heads of government, the Governor General was there, and so forth. And you have the BDF band, we have Louisiana's own that comes in and plays with the band, and there is this grandstanding of the flag being raised and the 21-gun salute as the fireworks are being displayed, and it's this beautiful ceremony. Interestingly enough, though, our Prime Minister was not here. He had his own celebrations in Orange Walk, because that is his municipality. So everybody was celebrating in their own way, in their own home.
Yeah, and you list all the individuals that were there, and I get you being excited about all of it because it's your cup of tea in terms of the diplomatic corps and stuff like that. I was very diplomatic with my pillow and my mattress.
You didn't stay up till midnight, Paul?
Listen, it was a long week last week. Friday night.
I understand.
Friday night caught me in bed at around 10 o'clock, and so I completely dozed off. I heard the fireworks in the background, woke up.
You didn't go peep outside to see?
I whispered Happy Independence across the next side of the pillow, and then I went back to sleep. And then the next day I saw it. But I know for a fact that a lot of Belizeans enjoyed it. So just want to jump into something else real quick, April, because after Friday night celebrations, so Friday night wasn't only about fireworks.
No.
Friday night was also about concerts.
Yes.
So Belize City had a concert.
Yes.
The Soca Fest was held in Belize City. And then in San Ignacio, there was a first of its kind Rude Boy
Fest.
Ultra Fest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And based on what I understand, that had a great turnout, but someone left a horrible surprise for concert goers on Independence Eve in San Ignacio. So after the concert, many of them found their vehicle tires slashed.
I saw that.
Yeah, so they were all inside all night, clueless as to what was going on outside. The concert saw acts like international DJ Oso City, reggaeton sensation Kiki, and the likes. Yeah, it was very well attended based on images and videos coming out of the concert.
This act of vandalism, these acts of vandalism always upset you because, man, you're trying to have a great time. And for no reason, people just, commit these violent acts of vandalism. And it kind of gives you this feeling like you can't have nice things. Nowhere is safe. You can't go and have a nice time because something or the other goes.
I've never seen anything like this take place after a concert. I mean, you're inside having fun along with everyone. Yeah. And then when the fun is over, like a nightmare just began for a great number of people. And they just finished having the time of their lives. So the video we're looking at, it shows several vehicles parked along the road with flat tires. Some vehicles showed 2 tires slashed, so 2 tires on either side. These vehicle owners were audibly upset after learning what was happening while they were inside partying. Now the reports are that police is looking into it. Some victims, I call them victims,
Yeah.
they have even taken to social media to create Facebook posts seeking the public's assistance in identifying
the people
who may have done this. This, for me, is just a sick joke. Mischievous people.
Just for no reason.
Well, they may have their reasons. Perhaps they were envious of the fact that these people were inside having a good time, and
that's
maybe
not a reason, Paul.
it may not be a valid reason,
Yeah.
but perhaps it's their reason. Who knows? I cannot say why they did what they did. Even mischief is a reason. I just want to go out and be mischievous, but this left a lot of these motorists stranded. And imagine if you don't have a spare tire.
And
imagine
I
if you don't
believe
have
that
a jack.
one of those people also had like an entire wheel
I think I
missing
saw,
or something. Or
so I
of
saw
that
that
nature.
image. I was trying to understand exactly
What
happened there.
Yeah.
If it was after the tire was punctured, that they took off the wheel to repair it or whatever. But multiple vehicles slashed. Just darkness, as the artist referred to his acts.
And speaking of vandalism, from one act to another, so this was in San Ignacio for Rude Boy Fest. And let's go all the way to PG now, where they were having their September celebrations in the form of a bicycle race. And it seems that somebody decided to throw thumbtacks on the road during the race, puncturing the tires of in fact, most of the riders, because according to the Facebook post, in the end, only about 4 riders finished because their tires weren't punctured.
That's just
the bad-mindedness of these people. You know, it's so sad because to me, like in this particular case, it's a community gathering, it's a community effort, it's something to bring everybody together. And can you imagine now having to repair that? One of their rims are over $100.
Yeah, well, you just have people out there with nothing better to do than to craft up idleness and execute it. And this is a case in point here in terms of executing idleness. Because, I mean, when you get out at this, except for stop on a patriotic event like simple, like a bicycle ride from taking place. So perhaps there needs to be some deep looking into to see what caused that one in San Ignacio and what caused this one in PG. Perhaps review some cameras and bring some penalties, if any at all. Vandalism.
Because you know what I think, Paul? I feel like lately for these events, the police department has been doing a great job at, keeping certain acts of violence from taking place. We hadn't reported much acts of violence over the course of the month when it comes to the events that were taking place. For the most part, like Carnival went smoothly, Juve went smoothly. Like there are certain acts that I think
this weekend may kind of different.
It may kind of different, right? Yeah, and I'm saving it for our other segment, but I think that for the most part, people are bored. They're trying to find different ways to create public rage and cause a scene and create uproar and so forth. Because for some reason, people love outrage,
and
right?
some people may argue as well that there's a lot of alcohol involved, and a lot of perhaps drug usage involved.
They're not drinking responsibly. They're not acting responsibly.
And so that kind of causes people to get out of character, especially people that already have an idle mind. And so, we just wanted to highlight those. One more topic, though, April, to bring for our What's Buzzing segment, where we're seeing more disunity and a lack of unity as it pertains to, when it's a September celebrations, you think unity, you think people coming together as one. Those 2 examples we showed earlier definitely does not display that. And somebody is working overtime to kind of further fracture what is an already fractured United Democratic Party. So yesterday we saw a release that someone created something to say that to suggest that the Alliance for Democracy is holding an executive election or convention to vote in its new leader,
Yeah,
its new deputy
we talked
leader.
about that last week.
Well,
Yeah.
well, what we found out thereafter was that the release was untrue.
Yes.
So we'll bring up the release shortly. So
Yes.
this is it, and it was at first jaw-dropping when I read it, because you saw some names, but more so than the names, we've been hearing that this alliance does not intend to form a third party, that they do not intend
They're
to
not trying to break away from the UDP.
UDP, but that they are UDP, and some suggest they're even trying to hijack the United Democratic Party. I won't go down that road, but this release, they had to issue a statement saying that it is untrue. So it's saying that on October 20th, which is the date they have set for this convention, that the party leader and his executives are completely against and are speaking out against. So this release is saying that same October 28th, that what will happen is that they'll be electing leaders for the Alliance for Democracy. Not holding a convention, a UDP convention, but electing leaders. And it's saying that Tracy Panton would be nominated for party leader. And I said, all right, cool. When I read it at first, I said, this sounds like they're detracting from their...
It didn't look real the first time I read it. I have to say, because if you read the other advertisement for the convention, it didn't have such... like, it seems like it's almost teasing you, right? Because if you go all the way to the top and they're saying things like, if you're tired of certain things, if you're tired, like, to me, if you are trying to advertise for a professional convention or something of that matter or that nature, the language, see, if you are tired of the PUDP and you want change, contact, to me, that's not the wording of something that is serious, that is coming from a professional desk, because persons that are on social media, of course, will say things like this, talk like this, right, create certain scandals like this. This is the way social media works. But to me, the way that you advertise politically for something as serious as a convention or as serious as advertising a new party, this is not the language that comes with this.
I think what caught me was the second sentence when they announced O.J. Elrington as the Secretary General. That caught me. I was like, all right, are they being for real?
Yeah.
O.J. Elrington being placed as the Secretary General, very questionable there. And then when they started to say that John Saldivar would be nominated as a deputy party leader over Patrick Faber, even that began to raise some concerns for me.
There was just a lot of questionable choices in this act.
I don't know, but some people are suggesting that the leader of the opposition and his team, chairman, deputy chairman, are working overtime to try and discredit this October 20th convention. I don't know.
We're saying that what we really wanted to say is that members of the United Democratic Alliance have come out to debunk this particular statement. They're saying it's not true. They're not a part of any new party. They have not moved away from the UDP. That this has nothing to do with their convention.
Yeah, so we wanted just to put that out there, because that's buzzing and that will continue to circulate. But April, before we move on further, we have our Eye on the News, and we have some very important topics to discuss.
So that does it for our What's Buzzing. Of course, we'll be having more of these conversations. And if there's any other topics that you would like to discuss with us, please tell us in our comments in our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. And now we are going to head into our Eye on the News segment, as we've done every Monday morning. And okay, so one of the, before we move on into our Eye on the News, Paul, I just wanted to briefly ask our viewers, we were talking about what we were doing for September and so forth, but we didn't get a chance to ask our viewers what they did for their September, how they brought in their September, their Independence Eve, how they were able to be a part of the independence celebrations. I know that there was a uniform parade that took place throughout the entire country. I understand, even though we have to come to work today, some of the public school students that marched to the uniform parade get to stay home today.
Yeah,
so they got their day off.
Yeah, I know it's there. You have some people complaining bitterly that the next time we have a Saturday public and bank holiday, please give us the Monday, because I know you have your views, April. I don't agree with them. I think we need the Monday off. But yeah, some people are
the school. Some of the school students that I think they're part of the government system, the public school system. If they had marched in the uniform parade, I believe that they were able to get their day off because they technically worked on the holiday.
And those parades were really nice,
They were
I watched
beautiful.
the one in Belize City.
Yeah.
And I particularly enjoyed the what do you call them? The marching bands.
Yes.
The minorettes, majorettes, and the choreography that they were able to put together, especially in Belize City. So I think they had like up to some 72, 79 different sections.
It was a long parade.
It was a long parade.
It was
I was tuned in via social media, and I saw somebody was going live for almost 2 hours. But I stayed tuned, and I really appreciated the choreography. I really appreciated how how clean it was. It was clean, fun, and these young people were definitely enjoying themselves. A little bit of rain came and it kind of dampened it a bit, but it did not stop it. The music, I enjoyed the music. I saw a couple Christian floats in there as well. For me, I have to say kudos to them, because you don't necessarily see that often.
Well, Belmopan has their Christian parade.
Well, if you're talking about Belmopan, that's a highlight.
That's a highlight.
That's a highlight. I think Belmopan takes the Christian community takes over celebrations.
You know what?
We need more of that across the country.
I laugh every time. Okay, I enjoy the Christian parade because it is hype, it is lively, the floats are beautiful.
What else is there to do?
But I always have to. I chuckle, right, because it's still a Christian parade, and they often have their different forms of sermon and prayer throughout the parade. But I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed that every stop that the Christian parade makes is at a particular scene where people frolic and frequent, that is of over drinking and over, I guess, violent spaces, if you want to call it that. So I think that in Belmopan this year, the Christian parade took a different route than they normally do, and they stopped and they blessed and they prayed over like La Cabana and different other hot spots. Go away. They did an entire different route, but that's always hype in Belmopan, and so the Christian floats are usually a part of the uniform parade the following day. In Santa Elena, San Ignacio's parade, I don't know if you got to see all of the floats throughout the country.
I didn't. I mainly focused on Belize City and what's happening in Belize City.
Yeah.
But there was a lot happening otherwise across the country. We know that this weekend was also a very violent weekend, especially in Orange Walk. There were reports several stabbings in Orange Walk. At least 5 we've heard of reported as a result are coming out of the carnival celebration, and we know for a fact that at least one person died at the hands of another individual as a result of a stabbing incident. This was an individual from Belize City, a young man by the name of Alwin Vasquez, who traveled from Port Loyola area with a group of friends to Orange Walk to enjoy the carnival as they would. But you know, with these carnivals and these type of events, there's a lot of drinking, there's a lot of partying.
Then because
and
it's a public event, you get to run into persons that are in this quote-unquote turf war.
Right, and I don't know 100% that that was the cause. I think based on information we're receiving, what happened was this group was walking along and they got into an argument. It's easy when you're under the influence of alcohol to get into certain arguments and to get into certain disputes. One lee talk, one lee word you throw could flare up something big. And reports are that these individuals were intoxicated, and that argument led to an individual pulling out a knife and stabbing this individual, 22-year-old Alwin Vasquez, in the stomach. And the suspect ran away from the scene. Mr. Vasquez was rushed, Mr. Alwin was rushed to the Northern Regional Hospital. This happened around 9 o'clock because after the carnival, there's a celebration, there's a jump up. So you could understand why he was still out and his group of friends were still out and perhaps were thinking about heading back to Belize City. And so that happened around 9 o'clock, and about 10 o'clock he was declared dead, basically.
You know, Paul, and these are some of the things that we talk about where we do give credit to the police for trying to maintain crowd control and so forth. But sometimes, you know, these things happen where persons bring these weapons, where persons are not all actively checked. Right, so we are going to continue to follow this story. We're going to have a segment on the newscast tonight. But we are moving into our Eye on the News segment, as we do here every Monday morning. All right. So let's get into our Eye on the News.
Let's just jump into our Eye on the News. They're waiting on that bumper. But so this weekend in Dangriga, because again we're on the theme of September celebrations, but while an official ceremony was being held at a BTL park in Dangriga, you had several teachers, Dangriga teachers and students protesting, demonstrating in front of this official September celebration ceremony in Dangriga. The images, or in fact more the songs, to me is very daunting because in the background of these protesters marching with placards, you hear Belizean songs playing, you hear official speeches being given. So this demonstration was held outside of an official Independence Day celebration ceremony at BTL Park in Dangriga Town. These teachers, they're protesting the fact that while the Briceño administration is reporting that the economy is growing, many of them have not seen their 2021-2022 increments restored. So from what I understand, April, and I had to dig back a little bit to get the facts of this. In March 2023, the government announced that it would unfreeze the increments that were frozen under the Barrow administration as well as the Briceño administration after. So they announced in March 2023 that they would unfreeze the increments and issue them according to when they are due. So some people's increments are due at certain time of the month or in the year, right? So, well, our archives show that up to December 2023, this is 8 months later, many public officers did not see their increments unfrozen. So I'm saying, well, 8 months? Whoa, that's crazy, because something must have gone wrong there, and perhaps this slipped our radar to do further investigation. So they would have gone, this group would have gone almost 3 years now without increments,
Yeah.
or even a
And
bit
I
more,
remember we were
arguably.
discussing the increment conversation last year,
Oh, yes.
around this time,
Around this time.
where they were talking about, we're going to get ready to pay our teachers, and I think that teachers were gearing up from August to receive these increments, and then they saw September come, nothing. October comes, some people got their increments. But you're right, Paul, it definitely, I guess, slipped our radar because so many things have been happening. And with the amount of teachers reporting that they had been receiving their increments, I think it was just an assumption, really, that all teachers were eventually receiving their increments within the year of 2023.
Yes.
So you're telling me that up until this year,
You still have
2024,
teachers,
we still have teachers that have not received their
based on
increments.
what their demonstrations.
yeah.
So I'm a bit surprised.
Yeah.
I have to admit that seeing teachers demonstrating more than a year later
And you
that
have to
they haven't received their increments, or at least that the government has not stood on their commitment to unfreeze increments in its entirety. So let me tell you a bit about those placards and what those placards were saying. Some were saying that salaries minus increments plus inflation equals suffering.
Yeah.
Other placards said that, well, bread gone up, egg gone up, cheese gone up, teachers' salaries gone down. Among others, so that's the one. Bread gone up, cheese gone up, egg gone up. So salaries minus increments. So teachers just want to have funds. Those are some of the placard they were saying, among others. And of course, this is something we definitely have to continue following.
I can't imagine the frustration though, Paul, because they're right. The prices of everything have gone up, and that little bit of increment would have allowed them to sustain themselves. I think that also with the State of the Nation address, which we are going to get into in a little bit, talks about removing the tax bracket for I think it was 29, right? Some of these teachers make more than that, and something that we did not discuss, or I'm not sure if it was discussed, is that those persons that do pay tax, what would happen to them? What would happen to persons that pay over the 29
well, you just have to pay your income tax.
And you have to pay your income tax, but will we be paying more? Because remember, as taxes decrease for one, taxes increase on others. And if you're not paying tax, there are a lot of things that will not get done. I often think that taxes are good. Taxes are what pave the streets. Taxes are what clean your drains. That's what makes the entire municipality go around. So if these persons within a particular tax bracket are not paying tax, then will those above be paying more tax? And if you are giving that break to other people, that means that there's funds to pay salaries, there are funds to do other things. If you are so confident enough to relinquish the tax from these particular persons, then that means that there are funds to go around. So then what is happening with the increment for these teachers?
Indeed.
So that's, I understand the frustration.
Yeah, of course, 100%. And you must also talk about the fact that in his State of the Nation address, Prime Minister Briceño announced that inflation has seen a significant decrease. He clarified that he's stating that since 2020 to now, inflation has seen a significant decrease. He also reported that the economy is booming, that they recorded $6 billion in GDP as well. So it is in light of these things that I understand these teachers are protesting, and the truth of the matter is, if this is the case, that they have not received their increments, and that the economy is booming as is said that it is booming, then what's the reason, perhaps what's the explanation for them not receiving the increments that is due to them?
I recall though, when we were having this conversation about increments, and I believe that we were talking to CEO and so forth, when we're discussing these salaries, apparently the government has dispersed them. It is up to the management to be able to provide those funds to those teachers. It is in the hands of the management of those schools. So perhaps the beef is not with the government. The beef is with the management of
and
those
then
schools.
there's also conversations about pension reform as well.
Right.
And the fact that the discussion where increments is concerned must also come with pension reform and a proper assessment for increments where it is due. You have conversations about those increments that were frozen for a period of time.
Yeah, I also, just like while we're on the topic and before we move on to the next topic, I just need to make this statement that with inflation, and this is something that we've discussed with several economists that come on the show, Paul, the prices will not go down.
Yeah.
The prices will remain. And the only way that we get out of this is if we get a boost in increase of salary, which that depends on if you're working in a private sector. If you're working for government, that's a different ballgame. If you are an entrepreneur, you have to increase your prices in the price bracket that is affordable for you so that you can make a decent profit. Prices will not go down. That's the way inflation works. If that was the case, we still would be able to be buying properties for $500. Back in the day, the way our parents used to buy certain stuff. If inflation worked that way, we wouldn't be in this particular price bracket now. That's just the way it works. But for these persons, for these teachers, I feel like there has to be a conversation with management. There has to be a little bit more oversight of the government to management to ensure that those teachers are being paid. Because at the end of the day, when you don't get your money, it's the government's fault. So
here's a question I have for you then, April, quickly. If we're staying, actually this is in Dangriga, we're coming up to Belmopan now.
Okay.
If you gone and get a piece of land, right? And
I did not.
I say me either. I may have been offered a piece, but that's another conversation.
Okay.
But if you get a piece of land, and this land value 20 grand, 20 G's, 20 buckaroos, and they tell you all you have to do that pay $2,000 and you will get your title.
Yes.
Right? And you pay your 2 grand. Wait, before you not think nothing, right? But you pay your 2 grand and you get your title.
Right.
Everything there. This
you have it in your hand.
This is a title from a piece of land. Now you know titles are absolute. So you get that now. And then 1 year later, right? Somebody come back now and say, you know what? That piece of land where you have, that no value 2,000. I realize you pay 2,000 for it. I beg you out of the kindness of your heart to come back and pay the 18,000 so that you could pay for the true value of the land. But you done got title. Would you go back and pay an additional $18,000 if you done got this title? You don't pay your 2 grand because you're not legally obligated for pay any more on that land because you have the title. Do you have the moral and ethical wherewithal to go in and pay $18,000 more? Perhaps it's a rhetorical question, but that's the question on the table right now.
Okay, so 2 things. You just heard our conversation about inflation, right?
Yeah.
So that's where everybody is at in terms of, can I even afford to pay that 18 grand?
Yeah.
Can I? And if I can't, what do I do? Yeah. Because I already have the title in my hand.
So let me stick up in there because this is what's taking place in Belmopan right now.
It is.
The Innovabel Estate. I remember clearly.
I remember it too.
March, the municipal election was when? March?
March 2023.
March 6th. So on the 8th of March, a couple of days before the former city council demitted office, Mayor Sharon Palacio held a ceremony in the Innovabel Estate area where she distributed documents sealed in an envelope to individuals. And this is footage of that distribution ceremony. My understanding is that titles, land titles, were in those sealed envelopes to these individuals. She, in that ceremony, after the interview, She said that some people had paid half while others had paid the full amount. She did not disclose how much was the full amount. So, you know, you're happy for people, then get a land, this area developed, and you say, boy, I wish I'm in me. I wish I'm in the part of the lead deal there, or whatever, right? Because people, they get land.
Yes.
And this is an area I'm familiar with because it's close to where my family resides. Come to find out a year later that the current city council did an investigation in April, and their investigation revealed that some people paid as little as $2,000 for these $20,000 parcel and received their land. The mayor is saying that some people received titles before even making payments. He's also saying that the investigation reveals that some people, allegedly former city councilors as well, paid as little as $100 for a parcel of $20,000 land.
You know,
and finally, because it just gets weirder and weirder, finally, April, that some individuals received as much as 8 parcels of land in this Inova Belt area.
You know, and it was coming at a time where the government of Belize was saying if you are a first-time landowner, or if you've never owned a piece of land, you are entitled to go to the lands and, you know, sign up and you could qualify. And I think a lot of people were doing that, and a lot of people were watching this story saying, oh, they're first-time owners. They're getting back the worth of what the government is saying that they're going to do. So I think at the time when this happened, there were not being questions as to, you know, citizens of Belize, first-time owners receiving land, because that was something that was promised, right? So nobody was looking at it from a standpoint of, are they paying what they're supposed to be paying for these parcels? You know, nobody was doing that. And it's very, very strange indeed, Paul, because when you do go to Recon Devon in Belmopan, you still, if you are a first-time landowner, you still have that opportunity to go and sign up and see what they give
comes
you.
up.
Yes.
What comes
but
up.
Now I'm looking at this, and I'm saying to myself, and I believe that you conducted an interview
with the mayor.
With the mayor, but you also conducted an interview with an anonymous resident that has a title. And he said plain and straight, people in the government do this all the time. How is this any different?
Well, he also said he they pay nothing else. That his title, it gives him absolute right to his land. I don't blame the title holders, right?
No.
Bam. I don't blame them. There's a part of me that questions the process over at the lands department, but I also think that they may not be fully at fault, because those transfer papers, they had $20,000 on it. The council's particular officials signed off on that, and the individual that received the title signed off on that transfer document that said $20,000 as well. So when the lands department saw the figure $20,000 and the signatures, well, they are within their right to issue that title, even though only $2,000 was paid for it. So perhaps the title holders are at fault to an extent for signing a document that says $20,000 when you know in fact that you paid $2,000 and in some cases $100. But the person that needs to be on the hot seat is the former mayor, Sharon Palacio, because this, I mean, how much young people at Belmopan want a piece of land right now? How much chaos they get caused over a $9.6 million purchase right there at Belmopan? People, they get away with land titles for $100 and
I apply for land in every single administration, and I still not get land yet. But I'm with you, Paul. And you know, for somebody that I guess is desperate for land, they're going to take what is given. Because I look at it and I said, but if I am only paying $2,000, and in my mind something wrong. Because if you're paying for a parcel in this economy, $2,000 is not what a piece in a Belmopan. That's not what that's worth. So I would have questioned, but would I have said, oh no, maybe I shouldn't get this piece of land?
No,
absolutely not.
And would me personally, would I have the conscience?
And if you look at the date, Paul, it says the 4th of March. That is right before the municipal elections.
And then that person got his title, I understand, a few months after.
But still the transaction was made.
Because once you sign those transfer papers, no matter who in the office, would I, as a good upstanding citizen, as some may consider me to be, go back and pay anything else?
You heard the conversation we had about the economy.
That's right, you a hard one. And so I know that a few of these individuals have lawyered up. I know that the couple city councillors who received lands have lost their jobs because they refuse to pay anything or to respond to any letters of notice given to them. And so this is unfolding. Former mayor has agreed to do an interview. In fact, she said she'll have a press conference with her and her people, hopefully this week, to explain what in the for the life of me is going on here.
Yeah. Choose your words, Paul. Choose your words. But
I had to choose
we are going to keep our eyes on this particular news item. There's a lot more to uncover, Paul. It's unfortunate that whenever we have these discussions, it's always in the form of some level of corruption. We don't want to be able to condone these types of situations, but we have questions, and we hope that we can get these answers.
And my question is, where can I get a piece of land for
Again, I did apply for a land from both administrations. I still can't get one. So that already tells you where we are. That because you know, we don't know enough people.
Don't know enough people.
But that shouldn't be the case. If you are entitled as a first-time landowner to get land, you should be able to get it. But again, more questions than we do have answers for now. That does it for our Eye on the News segment. Certainly these stories and more you can catch in our later newscast tonight at 6 p.m. on Facebook or on YouTube. That does it for Eye on the News.
All right, and so I want to thank you all for staying tuned to these very insightful conversations. What we're going to do right now is we're going to get into our weather update for today. It was raining a bit this morning, and so we're going to see what we can expect for the rest of the day leading into tonight and, of course, tomorrow.
Good morning, Billies. Relatively moist and somewhat unstable conditions prevail. The 24-hour forecast: sunny skies with cloudy spells today and cloudy at times tonight. Shower activity will be isolated, with a few more affecting mainly the coast and offshore areas this morning, then mostly central and southern areas this afternoon or evening. Tonight, a few showers, areas of rain, and isolated thunderstorms will affect mainly northern and coastal areas. The maximum temperatures for today will reach 89 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 94 inland, and 80 up in the hills. The low temperatures for tonight will be around 80 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 74 inland, and 68 up in the hills. The winds from the open sea will be light and variable, becoming east-northeast at 5 to 15 knots later today, and sea conditions will be slight. A low tide will occur this morning at 8:40, a high tide this evening at 2:53, another low tide tonight at 7:24, and another high tide early tomorrow morning at 1:48. The sun rose this morning at 5:41 and will set this evening at 5:47. The moon will set this morning at 11:24 and will rise tonight at 10:34. The outlook for Tuesday and Tuesday night: skies will be cloudy at times. A few showers, areas of rain, and isolated thunderstorms will affect mainly the coast and offshore areas Tuesday morning, then mostly northern and central areas early Tuesday night. Elsewhere, shower activity will be isolated. In the tropical weather outlook, showers and thunderstorms are gradually becoming better organized in association with a broad area of low pressure over the northwestern Caribbean Sea. Environmental conditions appear favorable for this system to become a tropical depression or tropical storm during the next day or two as the system moves northward across the northwestern Caribbean Sea and into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, where the National Met Service will continue to monitor the progression of this system. For more details on our forecast, please visit our website at nms.gov.bz. With that, we end this morning's forecast from the Belize National Met Service.
All right, that does it for our eye on the weather. Just make sure that you stay dry throughout the course of today. But moving into our show lineup, our first conversation is to get some insight on the rise of traffic safety. We've been reporting a lot on RTAs. It's been quite disruptive. So we're going to have the folks in from the traffic department to talk about traffic safety and how the public can combat it.
That's a good conversation. You want to stay tuned for that one. And our second and final conversation, we'll be talking about the Ministry of Health's Pharmacy Week. You want to know how you can participate in Pharmacy Week and get involved? Well, you want to stay tuned for that conversation as well.
But of course, we do got to take that first break. And when we come back, it's all about traffic safety and how you can be a part of the solution. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
And I work at UMall. 100% I will recommend Belize Bank mobile banking to everyone because it saves time, money and gas price because gas price is high right now. Belize Bank mobile banking just make life easier.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connections, pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Wake up! Now which cheese you think you may eat all the while? Got your cheese with the blue rooster on the label is the traditional and the real deal. The original Dutch, redback or hard cheese in Belize. Be aware, Check your label and make sure it is in English and for the Belize market. Gallo cheese with the Blue Rooster, the real deal. Santiago Castillo Limited, supporting and building our Belizean community for 95 years and counting.
Gaia Edam Dutch cheese, aged and tropicalized, the best formula for the Belize market, exclusively distributed by Santiago Castillo Limited.
Upcoming enhancements to My Social Security. The new healthcare provider feature seamlessly connects healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers to facilitate the payment of sickness benefits. Here are the enhancements. Registered healthcare providers will create and submit online medical certificates using their healthcare provider accounts. Insured persons will receive a link to view the medical certificate to complete and submit their sickness benefit claim. And employers will receive an email notification of their employee's sickness claim. Also, the insured person and their employer will receive a copy of the claim decision letter after review. Healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers are encouraged to create a portal account to access and benefit from these new services on My Social Security at ssbportal.org.bz. My Social Security online portal. Social Security at your fingertips.
Welcome back. This is our first conversation for this morning, and it's all about traffic safety and how the public can combat it or participate in traffic safety for that. And we have joining us on set Mr. Peter Williams, who is the Deputy Chief Transport Officer, as well as Mr. Marlon Miranda, who's a traffic warden, Grade 1. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
It's a pleasure to have you all on set. Now, before we get into the meat of the discussion, perhaps we can go into a brief explanation on the difference between what we know as the traffic department and the Department of Transport. So we don't have any confusion. We lay it all clear on the table.
Correct. So the Department of Transport is a national regulating body for all things land transportation in Belize, really. We regulate the use of motor vehicles, the use of roads, and so on. The Municipal Traffic Department has some authority given by the Department of Transport through the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act to regulate vehicles and traffic within their municipal boundary.
And that's, I would imagine, that's done so that there can be some assistance per se in terms of collaborative efforts with the Department of Transport to manage these heavily populated areas?
Yes, so it is a combination of revenue generation for the municipal authorities,
that too,
as well as providing that additional layer of support in terms of traffic management, traffic control, and traffic enforcement.
So there's a traffic department in every municipality?
Yes, there is a municipal traffic department in each municipality, and there is also a Department of Transport in each district as well.
Would you say that there is a balance in terms of both human and technical resources when it comes to both departments across the country?
I would say in terms of the human resource, yes. In terms of the technical capacity, there is still room for improvement with the technical capacity.
When you talk about both efforts and achievements from these departments, can we speak a little bit about the positives before we go into some of the negative questions that we have here for us this morning? Where have we seen the progress of both departments within the past 5 years?
Yeah, so there's been several progress. I can speak to some of the advancements made by the municipal authorities. For example, we have seen the Belize City Council or the Belize Municipal Traffic Department, taking leaps into the future, I would say, when it comes to their ability to improve on things such as the written tests for drivers, the practical tests for drivers, their prosecution team, their enforcement capacity, their issuance of driving license. They have really made a lot of significant improvements when it comes to this area. We've also seen some improvements with the Orange Walk Municipal Traffic Department, the Belmopan Municipal Traffic Department, in terms of increasing their human resources, in terms of improving on the quality of licenses that they issue, the service that they offer. We've seen a lot of improvements there. Likewise, with the Department of Transport, we continue to try to improve our service. We're trying to improve our facilities. We're trying to improve the technical capacity with our staff. We've had staff who have been trained in paralegal. We've had staff that has been trained recently in road traffic collision, investigation, and so on. So we have seen a lot of improvements over the years. I shared with some staff recently that while we were transitioning from our old headquarters to the new headquarters building, I was sitting in the office and I was feeling a bit discouraged. I was like, man, you know what, like, how can we improve? And I saw this old box in the corner, and something said to me, look through the box. And I went and I found one of the old strategic plans for the Department of Transport. This plan was developed under the former Commissioner of Transport, Ms. Candelaria Saldiva. And I was looking through the strategic plan, and I realized, wow, we've really come a long way as a department. The plan spoke about having a centralized database, having prosecution section, procuring new vehicles and uniform and all these things. And I felt good reading, and that kind of gave me that energy to keep the fight going, because I looked at that document and I said, man, we've really come a long way. We have our headquarters, we have staff who are more trained and knowledgeable. So it was a good feeling.
Let's get Mr. Miranda in on the conversation. As somebody that is out there frequently, how do you see the amount of not just pedestrians but traffic persons and motorists and so forth taking precautions when they're on the road, not just in the municipalities but on the highway?
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
When it comes to pedestrians, when it comes to drivers, not everybody is careful as to the way they go about. If it is one thing that I've learned, and I would want everybody to understand, what is imminent and what is ever present is death. A simple example, not to stray, when you're on your bed at night, if you feel like you're to drop off of your bed, what is your first instinct? Not to fall. But why wouldn't you want to fall?
You're afraid of what will happen if you fall.
And you're not certain if you're going to live.
Yeah.
Because if you were certain that you're going to live, you're just going to take a fall. And it's the same with drivers, with pedestrians as well. We take too much chances at life. Not recognizing that we are not the giver of life. We are not in total control of what we do in terms of people's behavior. Because I can do as best as I can. But there comes somebody that has little to no value for living. And then the sad thing about all of this is that out of 10, you might have 3 persons who are truly responsible. Don't quote me on the statistics. But it is evident by what we see on the road. It is evident by what we practice as individuals. I can assure you that not everybody that has a vehicle checks their motor vehicles every day. That's a given. And we don't want to stigmatize, but the last time I was on this show, I said that one of the things we wanted to do and encourage people more was to train women how to check vehicles.
Yes.
Fair.
Yes, absolutely fair.
You know.
No, we got husband.
So stop. I'll stick a pin there to ask you, what do you recommend be checked on the vehicle, and why every day?
Reason is you want to check your lights, you want to check your water, you want to check your oil, your steering, your brakes. These are things that are very essential. We might not see them as so important, but little do we understand, you can't see your heart, but the job where your heart do is important. And you can't see a brakes line, but as much as you can check your brakes, check your fluids. I mean, you do your part.
Yes.
You know, in everything, it is a two-way stream. So, as going back to what should be checked, you want to ensure that your mirrors are working also. You know, a lot of in the cities, in the towns, collisions are rear end collisions. Why? Because drivers are not also looking on their mirrors. You want to deviate from the malpractices of devices.
I see this often when I'm on the road, both on the highway and in the city, where when there's traffic, for some reason or the other, persons feel like they could deviate traffic if they just overtake one little bit enough. And I am trying to understand the mindset of individuals that think that this is a good idea.
You're directing a question, or you're giving?
I'm directing a question with a pet peeve statement, because when it comes to the laws of the road, right? Can you talk about how these are being reinforced? And I also understand that there are financial penalties to disrupting certain laws and regulations of the roads. So my question is a two-part. If you could kindly talk about the reinforcement of the laws and discuss the financial penalties of these infractions. Yes.
So yes, it is an offense to overtake a motor vehicle on the wrong side. You should only overtake from the left side. That is standard as a part of the rules of the road. And whenever persons are going through that learning process to obtain a driving license, that is taught in both the theoretical component and the practical component. What we've observed, however, is because over some years there has been a easement of enforcing the laws, and that has unfortunately developed this tendency for drivers to believe that they can do whatever they want to do.
Yes.
And so we have also worked diligently with our fellow agencies, which is the Belize Police Department and the municipal traffic departments, to try to enforce this issue. When it comes to the fines, there's a plethora of fines. It's a long list, and it varies based on the offense. So we would be here all morning listing them out.
But are these and I know we've heard of some of them, and I know when you come on the show you talk about some of these fines, like, you know, if you run a stoplight, $50 and so forth. Are these fines, in your point of view, in your opinion, sufficient? Because, not gonna lie, if my ticket, that $50, all right, pay that, and then I'll make the same mistake again the next day, right? If you're now finding me $1,000, I would be less likely to run that stoplight.
But I think beyond that though, April, when a life is lost, we're past the point of fines. I mean, what's the cost of a life? $1,000 penalty, but your life is already lost, right?
So I think what April is trying to, again, prevention, I think that is the point that she's getting at, and which I must agree, because in the traffic offenses are strict liability offenses under law, and the strict liability offenses for a reason, right? You have more persons committing traffic offenses than other criminal offenses. Every single day we have persons who commit a traffic offense as opposed to the more serious type of offenses, right? And so it is beyond just looking at the penalty. At this point, we want to understand, like you rightfully mentioned, what is the mindset behind operating a motor vehicle, which is the reason why through the Second Road Safety Project, we have a component that will look at developing the attainment or the procedure to obtain a driving license. And so we want to take a different approach. Before we used to look at it strictly from an enforcement standpoint or strictly from a education standpoint. Now we have a traffic psychologist who will be in country next month. We'll be doing some trainings with our motor vehicle inspectors and other officers within the department to take a completely different approach to looking at driver behavior. We want to understand the psychological component to being a driver in Belize.
I wanted to, and I'm glad that we kind of went in that direction, because I really wanted to talk about driving schools. I know that's not something that we do in Belize. You know, your parents teach you to be behind the wheel before you actually go and get your permit. Do we have this space, and when I say space, I really do mean funds. Do we have that to be able to start something in Belize where people can take the necessary classes to learn how to drive and maneuver in traffic in Belize?
So currently we do have a few private individuals who are offering that service within Belize. The Department of Transport is working on that. That is one of the top mandates that the Honorable Minister Ferguson has directed to the Chief Transport Officer and his team. For us to make that a priority, we need to establish driving schools in Belize. So that is a top priority. And so myself and our transport planner and the other members of our team at the Department of Transport, we are meeting with private stakeholders. We are meeting, for example, with IT Vet, other institutions that have some ability to be able to get this initiative up and running. One of the issues that we have to be very careful of, though, is the cost. We already know that there is rising cost of living in Belize, and to go and add an additional cost is something that we're very careful with doing. So in the interim of us achieving that goal, like I said, we're working closely with the Second Road Safety Project and the initiatives that we have going on with that to be able to introduce the new driving Safe Drivers Manual, to improve on the existing driving requirements that we have before we can get to that driving school. Because as it is, you could go to any Department of Transport office, any municipal traffic department, get your written test to go and study. After you've completed that test, you know the information, you pass the test, then you get your learner's permit to go on the road. Before, it used to be the reverse. So that is something that we changed, because we recognize you need to know the information before you go out on the road. After you pass the practical test and the written test, then you get your driving license. But there is much more that we can do, and we recognize this, right? And so that is one of the main things that we're working on right now.
It leads me to wonder if the issue we're having is much deeper than this, if there's more to it, because we have all these regulations in place. We're assessing to see where gaps can be filled, yet we're hearing about fatal accidents on a weekly basis. With all of these things in place, what's really the deeper issue? Is it human behavior? Is it bad driving, a lack of understanding of highway rules? Because what's the point of putting in all of these safeguards if at the end of the day individuals still don't respect them or abide by them? I'd like to get your thoughts, both of you, on perhaps what's the deeper issue at play here.
Bad behavior is something that is imminent. Everybody likes to take chances in life. We don't want to try to explain what is happening, because then we would give reasoning to why people tend to want to behave bad. You know, if there is one thing that God gave us is the free will to choose. You know, he said, I give you life and I give you death. You choose what you want. And anytime we go on the road, we have that same choice. You know, I have to learn how not to only drive for myself, but to drive for somebody else too.
Yeah, I have a piggyback question to Paul's question. Why are we in a hurry to go from point A to point B?
You know, planning is something that I won't generalize in Belize, but I would say a lot of Belizeans don't do proper planning. We tend to just stick to the norms and the routines. Whatever has been working, that the way we continue do. Until a calamity strikes. And then we want to adjust certain behaviors, but at times it's too late. It goes back to the comment that our brother asked. My question would be now, my question to your question and an answer would be, how much debts are permissible in Belize? The reason why I asked that, we have about what, 300,000 Belizeans, thereabout? Almost 400,000?
Yeah, almost.
Almost 400,000. And my question is this, and I want a response from you. What is a acceptable, for the lack of a better word, what is an acceptable number of fatalities per year in Belize?
It should be 0.
It should be 0. Right? Is it attainable?
No.
Why would you say no?
Because human behavior is complex.
Okay.
Can't predict it.
Yeah.
So because your answer is no, your expectancy is 0, but what would you expect or tolerate?
I go and tolerate none.
None.
Yeah.
None.
I like that though.
And the reason why I'm asking that is because as much as there are certain things that we would never want to happen, a lot of things are out of our control. The Department of Transport is like a parent to the drivers.
Yeah.
Right? Your child is only your child as far as you can see them. Right? It doesn't matter what type of brought up you gave them at home. When then they get out of your sight, that one whole another ball game.
So a part of that then, some people are suggesting, and you'll tell me if it's a lofty idea, to increase patrols on the highway, perhaps to have more traffic officers along our highways. How plausible is this suggestion?
So I think there is a dual trend in opinion when it comes to that, because we have persons who believe that the laws are too strict and too stringent, and we need to be a bit more lax. I see people every day in my office complaining about these things. But on the other hand, we have people who are saying, no, we need stricter laws, stricter penalties. And I believe that in a developing country, we have a lot of intelligent Belizeans, right? We don't need to have that colonial mindset anymore. Why is it that we need to constantly be behind adults operating motor vehicles on the road with a whip?
Yeah.
We shouldn't need to be there. But unfortunately, that is the case. I can tell you, going back to the initial question that you had asked, there has been substantial research across the world to look at what are the factors that contribute to road traffic collisions globally. And we saw factors such as poor road condition, poor vehicle condition, post-crash care. There was a deficiency in post-crash care, and all these other things, driver behavior. And in Belize, we have seen an improvement in our roads.
Yes.
We have seen more, how can I say, more better vehicles being imported into the country. We've seen an improvement in the post-crash care. We have more EMTs and other people who are trained to respond to road traffic collisions in Belize, the fire department and so on. But the one thing that remains consistent is poor driver behavior. So it is evident that that is the issue. We continue to see drivers overtaking curves, overtaking on hills, speeding, consuming alcohol when operating a motor vehicle. So it is an individual issue. Listen, we have between the municipalities, the Department of Transport, and the Belize Police Department, persons who are being taken to court every day. They're convicted of traffic offenses every day. They're fined, and yet still we continue to see these collisions increase. So there's something bigger than that, and so we need to begin to look at the psychological component of what is going on. What is going on? What is leading these persons to act in this way? And there can be several factors, of course. But when we have the experts come into Belize and begin to provide that training, then we'll be able to dive into those components more.
What about motorcycles? What are we seeing where motorcycles is concerned, and how can we tackle that issue head on, no pun intended?
So what I'll say to that is that, again, there is an economic component to the use of motorcycles. We can't run away from that.
That's true.
People are trying to find economic means or modes of transportation. Yes. However, we continue to implore on the Belizean people to do so responsibly. We continue to see persons having excessive persons on their motorcycles, young children or young babies on their motorcycle. We continue to see them removing the silencers on the motorcycle, creating excessive noise, not wearing their helmet, overtaking on the wrong side. All these issues we continue to see. We continue to prosecute those persons who we encounter. So we're at the point now where we are working towards amending the motorcycle regulations. We recognize that the penalties when it comes to the motorcycle regulations are a bit too low. It's really low. So we're looking at increasing the fines and penalties for motorcycle offenses. We're looking at adjusting the regulation for the sale of motorcycles in Belize. We're also looking at the standards for helmets that are used in Belize. So there are several factors that we're looking at when it comes to the motorcycle regulation. But that law has been in place since 1998,
I was gonna
right?
say.
So it is a bit antiquated, and it requires some updating. And we literally have the Chief Transport Officer, Mr. Gentle, has commenced our submission to the Cabinet for approval for us to begin to look at those amendments.
That was going to be my next question, because we long are the days of horse and carriage. We are now, electrical vehicles are now a thing, right? So how often do you all look at the laws and see that they need improving and amendment based on the vast technology progression that's taking place?
Yeah. So we every year we look at existing legislation. Because remember, legislation is based on the mores or the norms of any society. And so the laws require modernization oftentimes, and that is what we're working towards. We try not to amend laws in silos or without necessary consultation with members of the public and other stakeholders. And so that adds to the process or the lengthy process of making laws. We have seen in the past where laws, not just traffic laws, but laws in general, are created without consultation, and then that requires further amendments, which is unnecessary. So for us at the Department of Transport, we try to ensure that we be as diligent as we possibly can, so that if there is anything we miss, it would be extremely minor, right? So that is what we're working on.
How do you regulate the sale of motorcycles, as you suggested?
Well, already as it is, we have laws that look at the sale of motorcycles. So as an example, it is an offense for you to sell or lend anybody a motorcycle without a protective helmet, as it is. So any person, any dealer in motorcycles, if they're caught selling a motorcycle without the helmet, they can be charged for that offense, as it is. But we need to see how we can improve on that legislation. So one thing that we can do is when we issue the dealer's license, we need to make that information more pronounced, so that the minute you want to be a dealer, you understand clearly that you need to be able to provide a helmet when you're selling it, as an example.
What about regulations where vehicle year and models are concerned. Is that something we have in our laws in Belize?
In Belize, our laws focus more on the physical fitness of the motor vehicle. It is a bit difficult to legislate fairly, at least, restrictions on the year, because you could have a vehicle from 1950, but you have it in proper road condition, right? And you can use it on the road. So another thing that I need to mention is that when we're looking at the issue of road safety, we also need to begin to look at other non-punitive mechanisms to dealing with it. For example, community service. We need to also look at your driving record. So some years ago, we used to offer driving record or your driving history in Belize, and that is something that we want to bring back, right? So that we can have that database to look at your driving history. So we can say, you know what, April, we notice you get so much ticket every month. You've been involved in X collisions or whatever the case may be. We're not going to issue you a driving license for X period of time. So these are some of the things that we need to begin to do. So it's not just that financial penalty, but we need to find alternative ways to deal with it.
I was going to ask that for persons that we have reported that have been involved in these RTAs, do they get their license revoked immediately?
I want to add to what Mr. Williams just said. I believe it was last week. By the way, the Department of Transport is prosecuting across the country when it comes to the behavioral trends of drivers. To the question, last week, an officer in Orinjoak took a bus driver to the magistrate court. The magistrate presently there saw the person's name for about the third time. And the magistrate said to the individual, you know what? You can no longer drive bus until a period of time. So their case is going on right now, but that individual cannot drive bus. He can only drive normal vehicles because driving bus is practically his job, right? So anytime people understand that their livelihood is endangered, then people would change their behavior. Yeah, so to what Mr. Williams said and to your question, yes, that is something. The problem we have, and that is not only in the national transport sector, but in general when it comes to enforcement, there is always a lack of manpower, so to speak, not overwhelming like that, but the follow up, the follow through. It is a lot of work. Trust me, it is a lengthy process, because if I have April, who is problematic in driving, I would have to be recurrent on her files. I have to go to court probably next week, next 2 weeks again. I have to write another report, and that's only one individual. For example, in a range job, you would have over 6,000, more than that, 10,000 people. Out of 10,000, consider 1,000 as problematic. Just off the top of the bat, right? So all of these things we have to bear into consideration, that the officers also have a life. Of course. And outside of the scope of your job, you have to remember that we also have to ensure that we are sane, because too often we tend to care for everything else except ourselves. And until we have a sane mind, then we can deal with people better and properly also. And lastly, with respect to that, it might sound weird, but I must reiterate the fact that drivers have to be cognizant of their diet. You see, what you eat affects you. When you eat affect you, I want to eat full my belly and I go drive, all of these things affect, So these are factors that you have to put into place. We tend to just think that grab something and you eat and you drive. These things actually cause collisions on the road as well.
What I appreciate about this conversation in particular this morning is that it shows me that a lot of the issues are behavioral and that they're psychological. And we could regulate behavior to an extent, but when it comes to the psychological process that affects your behavior, that's when it takes a lot of tweaking and a lot of shifting in our own mindsets. And so personal responsibility is key here, because you could have a law that says you must give way to the opposite traffic before you take a turn off into that lane. But psychological, and that's the behavioral law, but psychologically, if you're thinking, boy, I just want to hurry make this turn because I want to make it, and then you go and something comes and collides into you, that's psychological. And so that's an issue. And psychology is much harder to regulate than behavior.
They go hand in hand.
So,
but
I wanted to just elaborate a little bit on what Mr. Miranda was saying, because I think most people are not aware that traffic offenses, what we refer to as traffic offenses, are actually criminal offenses under law. You have civil matters and criminal matters. That is how it is divided. And so oftentimes people, they tend to not be aware of that. And so we want to continue to help people to understand that when you commit a traffic offense, you actually commit a criminal offense. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the drivers who are responsible, because oftentimes we don't recognize the persons who are trying to be law-abiding citizens, right? We often look at the Pareto principle, right? You always have that small percentage of the population who will be the ones who, as we say in Belize, they will give trouble, right? But we have the vast majority of Belizeans who are law-abiding citizens who want safer roads in Belize. And so it's important that we recognize those persons who are always safe on the road, who have that cognitive ability to say, you know what, I'm approaching a curve, I'm not going to overtake, I'm going to be responsible, right? Because I want to make it home to my family safe. I want to ensure that other road users on the road are safe. So to those persons, I want to say thank you. Continue to be that beacon of hope for other road users in Belize.
Gentlemen, as we wrap up our conversation, just to give a peace of mind to our viewers, if you both can kindly remind them how they can be good motorists, good pedestrians, and overall law-abiding citizens when they're on the road.
First and foremost, like I said, we have to, like you mentioned, rightly mentioned the psychological part. That is something that we as transport personnel are not trained to know if somebody is not right up here, right? You see people, but we don't know what they're thinking. You know, people have reasons, different reasons to get driver's license. People really want it to have a living. Some people want it for enjoyment. Some people want it for criminal activities. We don't know that. So what I'm saying is, whenever we do our part, we do as much as best as we can to ensure that an individual is capable of receiving a driver's license. Secondly, when it comes to the behaviors, we won't only talk about bad behaviors like Mr. Williams rightly said. We talk about good behaviors. So let us look at good practices that drivers can take. Check your vehicles. Number one, that's primary. That's in your written test. When you take your written test, those are things that are in there reminding you that I must check my vehicle as best as you can. And you know what is true? Not much. Because the vehicles rarely want to give problem. You give more problem than the vehicle. That is the truth. So check your vehicles, your brakes, your lights. Your lights are essential. They are very, very important, especially right now, the sun hot. You have to ensure that your lights and they work properly, because they say when people they brake, signals. We have to develop a good practice in driving. Ensure the reason I had asked you the question, how many deaths are acceptable, is because, you know, we recently had an international trainer that came in. We took a training, a week in training at Belmopan, and the question was asked, how many is acceptable? In a small country like Belize, some said, you know what, 7. And everything was fine until we looked at a video, and the 7 that came out were his 7 family members. So until we take the approach that the 7 that can die for the year is your family, 7. You are going to be more careful when operating.
Excellent. Just closing thoughts for you, briefly, please.
I am road safety. I think we need more people in Belize to resonate with those words. If when somebody gets in their motor vehicle, if when they go for a walk, if when they jump on their bicycle to go for a ride, if they have that in mind, I am road safety, I believe that we will begin to see a change, because we need to take ownership of road safety. Okay. Road safety is not a Department of Transport thing. It is not a police thing or not a government thing. It is for all Belizeans. All Belizeans, all persons who visit our country, we utilize the roads, right? Land transportation is the most used mode of transportation out of land, sea, and air. And so until we can take ownership of road safety, we're not going to go anywhere, because it doesn't matter how many persons we convict in court. It doesn't matter how many new roads we fix. If we as individuals don't recognize that it starts with us and we need to improve our behavior, reduce the risk that we're taking, we're not going to see any change. So I will ask you guys, I want to hear you say, I am road safety.
I am road safety.
I am road safety.
I am road safety.
I'm on the road every single day.
I am on the road every single day as well.
I am road safety.
Thank
Excellent.
you very much.
We need some shirts or
yes,
something
one would say that.
branded.
Yes, I am road safety. Mr. Williams, Mr. Miranda, thank you both so much for coming in. It's a very important conversation, and we hope that this psychology training goes well. We hope you come back and talk to us more about that. But we got to take another break, and we'll be back with our second segment, which is all about the Ministry of Health and Wellness's Pharmacy Week. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
This September, Smart is bringing you deals that are bigger and smarter than ever. When you sign up for broadband and add a postpaid plan, you get to enjoy 2 months of free add-ons. Customers that sign up for a select plan or above and get phones for as low as $80. It doesn't end there. Switch to Smart Prepaid and get more value for your money. Switch your chip and get your SIM for only $1. 1 large social media data bundle for 3 months and phones for as low as $60. Smart has bigger and smarter deals for you. Promo ends September 28th. Smart, bringing people together.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Iowa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Iowa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Iowa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Iowa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Iowa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
Power on with confidence. Design Depot brings you an attractive selection of GE appliances, including microwaves, washers, dryers, refrigerators, dishwashers, countertop appliances, and more. We understand the importance of appliances that not only endure, but also excel in performance. As your trusted GE USA authorized dealer, we stand for reliability and performance, ensuring that you can power on with confidence. Visit us today and power on with efficient, reliable, and energy-saving solutions with GE appliances from Design Depot.
Design Depot, all in one place.
My name is Leomar Langzert and I'm a teacher and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer. With these online that Belize Bank offered is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
Welcome back. Joining us for our second conversation, we have our folks here from the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital to talk about their events for Pharmacy Week. We have here over to my left Ms. Beverly Coleman, and she is a registered pharmacist. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we have next to her is Ms. Jada Parshu, and she's also a registered pharmacist. But you are representing different entities. You're the acting pharmacy manager.
Yes, I am.
And you are the part of the Pharmacist Association. You're the treasurer.
Yes.
All right. Good morning, ladies. Let's talk drugs. Good drugs.
There's some drugs. Are you both from KHMH?
Yes, we both are.
Both from
yes,
KHMH.
both from
Excellent.
KHMH.
So why is it important that we commemorate Pharmacy Week?
Good morning again, and thank you for having us. World Pharmacist Day is actually on Wednesday, September 25th.
Okay, that's this Wednesday.
This Wednesday, right. And it was started in 2009, and it actually marks the anniversary of when the International Pharmaceutical Federation was formed way back in 1912. So in 2009 it was adopted, and since then we have been celebrating World Pharmacist Day.
So let's talk a bit about the importance of pharmacists, the work that a pharmacist does. Now I know it's perhaps a given to people who goes to the pharmacy. You go to the pharmacy with this prescription, but I'm sure there's more to it because you all have to have the knowledge and the understanding, etc. But I want you to explain it to us.
Yes, as a pharmacist at KHMH, our role goes beyond just dispensing medication. We often see pharmacists as just dispensers, but it's more than that behind the scenes. At KHMH, similarly to community pharmacy, we fill prescription and dispense them to patients, and we ensure that whatever is prescribed is appropriate for the treatment, and yes, the dosage and the treatment are appropriate for the patient, and we also counsel patient on how to use the medication safe and effectively. Aside from just outpatient care, we also handle inpatient care, which involves dispensing medication on the drug charts for the hospitalized patients. And what is unique about KHMH is that we're one of the only hospital that actually works on the ward. And we attend wrongs, and
If the pharmacist does it themselves, or you guys issue it to the nurses and they go around?
No, we just supply the medications patient by the patient's drug chart, and we we have containers at the ward, and we supply the medication in those containers.
And they take care of that.
And then the nurses administer it accordingly.
I think one of the things here is that important things is that we have to trust you all. We have to trust that you all know what you're doing.
Yes.
Because a lot of the times you go to the hospital and you really don't understand fully the names
The chicken scratch?
or what's right
Pandy,
or what's
yeah.
inside these pharmaceuticals. But we have to trust also that you are giving us what is good for us
Yeah.
and what will make us better.
Yes, and that is why at Carl Hirschner we always have someone to check our work for us. It's not just only us.
Okay.
If I don't understand something, I would always go back to the doctor or even ask one of my colleagues, what do you see, what does this look like to you? And if they don't know, we always double check with the doctors to see that yes, what we are supplying is accurate. And also even the nurses, if we supply something and the nurses don't know what it is, we would just confirm with them that what is on the drug chart is what we supply. So it's a teamwork basically.
So I wanted to, because I know it is Pharmacy Week and I would understand that there are going to be a lot of education campaigns that go within this. But for our viewers at home that would probably just go to your friendly neighborhood pharmacy store, can you tell us about the differences between a drug that would require a prescription and one that you can just get over the counter?
Well, you just said it. You have what are prescribed and what are over the counter. And our Ministry of Health and Wellness has, we have two classifications of over the counter. We have what is over the counter general sale, meaning that you can find it in any supermarket or gas station or anything like that, and you have what is over-the-counter pharmacy sale, right? And pharmacies, it is classified as pharmacy sale because even though it is over-the-counter, it still needs a bit of pharmacist counseling,
right?
You know, guiding you on how to take it and things like that. So, but it's simple. It's either prescription medication or over the counter. But as I said, we have two classifications of over the counter.
I feel like if I go, you know, sometimes when I'm feeling sick and perhaps I think I need an antibiotic, I can't get an antibiotic.
Yes, because you can't just feel that you need an antibiotic, you know. And that is, granted, we come from a society where, you know, we wake up this morning, have a little scratch in my throat and need an antibiotic. No, it's deeper than that. And we have been a part of the global sensitization of our patients and the public against what we call antimicrobial resistance. And this is it's a global problem for that same reason. And it's not only antibiotics, it's antifungals, antivirals, you know. So this is the reason why we try to have these regulations in place, and why the pharmacists, adding to what Jada has said, we are a part of a multidisciplinary team. We don't act on our own. And the ultimate goal, of course, is always the well-being of the patient, right? So if that is why when you feel like you need an antibiotic, you can't just walk into a pharmacy and get an antibiotic, because it leads to resistance. And even when you need that antibiotic, we counsel you and we advise you how long you're to take it for, because, you know, we take it for 2-3 days, we start feeling better, we are put up this for when we get sick again, you know. And that is one of the leading causes of resistance.
Right. And that's why and this conversation is not just for us to have, but of course for our viewers to understand as well, because when we're talking about Pharmacy Week, these are some of the important details that we want to know. We appreciate our medical personnel, but sometimes we don't appreciate the detail of the work.
Yes.
So let's talk Pharmacy Week and what KHMH is doing to commemorate the week.
Well, I must say that we have a very energetic little bunny who works with us, who every year she makes sure that she pushes some sort of activity out of the pharmacy at KHMH. And I will add here that last year for one of our main activities for Pharmacy Week was the naming of our pharmacy in honor of one of our fallen sisters. She was actually a manager, one of our managers at the pharmacy, and she sadly passed in 2017, and we had the honor of naming the pharmacy in her name. So the pharmacy at KHMH is actually known as the Marisol G. Melado Pharmacy.
Excellent.
Right?
So let's talk a bit about some of the activities planned. Can you do that for us?
Yes, so to start off the week, we participated in the Mass at St. Martin's de Porres yesterday. Nice. We'd like to thank Father Jeremy and his team for welcoming us. We also have an ongoing volleyball tournament, interdepartmental tournament in the KHMH parking lot. And this is to promote camaraderie among the staff and to promote healthy lifestyle. Also planned, we have a 5K glow walk on Wednesday on the actual pharmacy day in collaboration with DJ and Miss Karen. This walk starts at 6 p.m. However, we encourage participants to come out. 6 p.m.? Yes, it's a glow walk.
Glow walk, yeah.
Nice. And we encourage participants to come at 5:30 to register. So 5:30 p.m. at the KHMH parking lot to start at 6.
I like that.
Okay.
And it's a 5K walk.
Yes.
Wow.
So it starts at the Carl Hushna parking lot and it ends at the parking lot. Yes.
Excellent. Is there anything else scheduled this week or anything you'd like to add?
No, just that everybody is welcome to the 5K glow walk. It's not just limited to pharmacy staff.
Do we have to pay to be a part of it?
It's a $5 registration fee.
Okay.
Is there a theme for this year?
Yes, there is, and I was just getting to that.
Yes.
The theme for this year's pharmacy day is Pharmacists Meeting Global Health Needs.
Okay.
Again, it is just to show it. We use this day and this week to show how far we have come in the practice of pharmacy. When I started pharmacy, I like to say way back in the dark ages, we were not allowed to go on doctor's rounds in the hospital. But now we have advocated and we've made strides, and we still have a long way to go, but we are proud of where we are, what we've accomplished. And as I said, we use this week and this day to highlight the work that we do. Because a lot of people see a pharmacist or see pharmacists and feel like we just sit there and we just dispense medication. But it is so much more, more than that.
How big is the pharmacy team at KHMH, and why is it that I see mostly women in the pictures?
Almost every... you will find mostly women. I mean,
mostly nurses and pharmacists.
Women power, But at KHMH, I think we have. I think we are a staff of 20.
Okay.
And it's not that we have 20 pharmacists. We have pharmacists. We have pharmacy assistants. We have a pharmacy inventory officer. But we make up a team, and it's not only that we're a team, we call ourselves a family. Yes, we are.
I think I saw the t-shirts.
Yes.
And is the majority women?
Yes, majority is women.
I think most pharmacists.
But you look across, you look across our country. In any classroom, you see. Unfortunately, you see mostly women.
I wanted to ask, I know that this is being led by KHMH, but are you inviting other pharmacists and so forth to be a part of it?
Yes, it is an open, the walk. The walk is open. It's open to the general public. The first time we did one was last year, and we did it in the morning, and it was well attended, And so, as I said, I did not get the chance to say her name, but the little bunny who we have working in the pharmacy at KHMH, who pushes things like this, is her name is Stacy Flores, and she's very big on having having us do things
team
for
pharmacy.
Big up Stacy. Yes, big up Stacy. Yes,
but ladies, before we end our segment this morning, just tell our audience, why is it that you do the work that you do? Why is it that you are, you said dark ages?
Yes.
To now have been a pharmacist. What is so rewarding about being a
I
pharmacist?
became a registered pharmacist in Belize in 1992.
Wow. That's not a dark age.
Yes, it is. I feel like it's the dark ages. When I work with young people like this, I feel like it's the dark ages. Yes, but you in Belize, you get into pharmacy and you stay in pharmacy for the love. It is literally for the love of what you do. You have this feeling, especially I believe. I have had the opportunity to work both in private and public sector, and it's, as I said, it's a feeling of helping. It's a feeling of giving back. I know I could never be a doctor. I can never be a teacher, but this is the way we feel that because your heart is in it. Your heart has to be in it because it is certainly not for the money. And as I said, I've been in it since 92, and it's wholly and solely for the love of it and your concern for your patients. I mean, I could sit here until next week and tell you sometimes the hoops that we have to jump through to get things for our patients. So it's wholly and solely, it's a love, it's a passion for this career that we've chosen.
And that's over 3 decades.
Yeah.
They really want to put it into perspective. Almost over 3 decades of love and passion.
Yep.
So kudos to you, because many people don't last that long in any field. And pharmacists, you really love the drugs.
Let's hear from you, Jada.
I feel like Miss Bev said it. That it's really for the love that you stay in it. I mean, you become a pharmacist and you just stay in it for the love.
How many decades for you so far?
Decades? The years. 4 years so far.
Wonderful.
You have some ways to go.
You see why I feel like
of course.
back in the dark.
I was born that year.
That's why, but it's not the dark anyways. Beverly, Jada, thank you so much for coming in.
Can I please ask your permission just to mention our sponsors?
Of course, that camera right there.
Please, and I appreciate it. Bradley's Imports, James Brody and Company Limited, Publix Pharmacy, T-shirt Factory, Simon Kwan and Company Limited, and as Jada mentioned before, St. Martin de Porres Church and Father Jeremy for hosting us, graciously hosting us yesterday. And as usual, the Energizer Bunny herself, Miss Karen Rosito, who will be leading our walk.
Wonderful, ladies.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. And of course, you couldn't be doing this without the help of all of these people. So thank you to them.
And
as
kudos to our team at the Marisol G. Melado Pharmacy at KHMH.
Beautiful. Thank you,
to our
ladies.
family. Thank you for having us.
Wonderful. We are going to take our final break. And when we come back, it is straight to wrap. Don't go away.
Gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
Remember, Not all light bulbs are created equal. Our lighting department offers a wide assortment of light fixtures and accessories to suit your style. So stop in today and get the right illumination for your homecation. And don't forget your B-Box when you make a purchase. Benny's, quality and savings.
My name is Nayeli Yakab. I'm the coordinator of the Benga House of Culture Niche. Before the Belize Bank online service, I had to travel to San Ignacio because we don't have a branch, a Belize Bank branch in our community. Now with the service, I can conduct my transactions at the office, at the comfort of my home, just anywhere in the world. It has made my life much easier. I would recommend the Belize Bank digital services to everyone and anyone. It gives you back your time, it's highly reliable, it's available 24/7, and it just makes your life easier.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We want to say a big thank you to all of our guests for coming by, having that conversation with us, and of course we want to thank you, our viewers, for tuning in and starting your morning right here with us on Channel 5. I want to do one big up because then call me this morning for say I have to big up, they are tuning keenly for us to big them up and to say hello. Hi, Lynette Sabito. She is a wonderful history teacher at SJCJC, and she watches our show every single day diligently to listen to the conversations that we have. She always has feedback sometimes, or she messages and says, you know, I had an opinion about this particular topic. So we appreciate our viewers that tune in and try to have that conversation on camera and of course off camera with us. So hi Lynette, see I didn't forget, I did the big up. But of course we love all of our viewers and we want to thank them every single day for tuning in. It is September 23rd, and if it is your birthday today, we want to say a happy birthday to you. I have belated birthdays for my wonderful mother, my other mother, Miss Marva Gallardo, right there from Kamalote Roaring Creek, Dali area there. Yes, she celebrated her birthday yesterday.
My sister's birthday is actually tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Happy early birthday.
Tomorrow, so I have
you
to send
wish
a happy birthday in advance.
I hope you remember.
Today and then tomorrow I'll give her the official text or call her or whatever, but happy birthday to my sister.
Happy birthday to our dear loved ones. And if you have a birthday shout out or just a question or a comment, drop us a line right here at oye@channel5belize.com. You can also catch our live stream every day on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ and check out our highlights on Instagram at OYE Belize. And of course, do us a favor and join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes
and start your morning right.
Be sure to keep your eyes, your mind,
and of course your hearts wide open.
We'll see you soon, Belize. Stay safe out there. Remember, I am road safety. Have a wonderful day, Belize. Bye.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.